All right. Oh, let me fix the chat box really quick and then we'll get cracking. Excellent. Also, wrong template. There we go. All right. So, hey guys. Hopefully the audio balancing is fine. I really haven't tweaked anything since the last stream, but here we are. Yeah, so we have Fate Grand Order doing my rolls for Tiamat. Now, okay, let me just fix this here, because this is still wigging out hard. That, down. Cool. We'll just leave it like that. Anyway, yeah, so this arcade collab was announced like... Yeah, pretty much, Mana. Just lots of testing. Because, like, I wasn't paying attention to anything, and I got a ping, surprisingly not from you, Mana. It was from somebody else, but it was about the same time. I think they got me like a minute before you did. And they're like, oh, hey, did you roll for Tiamat yet? And I was like, alright, slow down, what do you mean? And then I decided to actually double check my messages. Oh, don't tell me the chat box is just... See, I don't get it, because the chat box works completely fine on my, Oh, you know what? I think this is actually why. Yeah, that is exactly why it's breaking. Give me a moment here. I think I finally cracked the case here. There. I need to be editing the size values in here so that I can actually read the data appropriately. Anyways, yeah, anyway, I hadn't been paying attention to my messages, and then somebody notified me, and then I double-checked my FGO notifications on my phone, then I see the FGO arcade started, or the collab, and I was like, alright, slow down. So yeah. Weird timing. I wanted to get the stream done as soon as possible, because I have another video that I really need to do today. You guys can't see it because I'm a better door than a window, but on the couch behind me there's a box from Bandai Namco. So I'm gonna be doing that right after this. I think it's a little too far down. Yeah, I wish this thing would work. Like, I don't know why it doesn't want to work here. Let's do this really quick. Let me just refresh it. Oops. I don't know why it's so broken. Because it worked fine on the GBM stream before, and now it doesn't want to work. And it's funny because it's literally the exact same configuration data for both of them. Yeah, why is this so friggin' busted? I can never seem to get the chat to work since switching off of Streamlabs. Like, Streamlabs had this very simple plugin. It was like, it was built into the software itself, and then I just sourced it and it worked. This is just like, it does not want to work to save its life, literally and figuratively, which is kind of sad. Okay. Maybe now it'll work. I don't know. This is funky monkey stuff. I'll have to do a closed stream at some point and properly test it. Anyways, let's do what we actually came here to do. Let's turn my apples real quick here. Maybe now. No, it still just doesn't want to fly. So I think what we'll do, we'll just do that jank setup I did before here real quick. Where's my window cap? because I don't feel like fighting this right now. I'm gonna make sure it's set to live chat, shrink that. And I should actually shrink the chat box itself. There. Perfect. I'll just span that up. Trim that up. Oop. Excellent. There. Absolute jank, but you know what? It'll do for our purposes today. Yeah, I'll figure out the cursed fucking crap later. Ugh. Yeah, pretty much. If it works, right? So, wrong button. Make sure you always test your stream stuffs out, kids. Although then again, I can't really say that because even if I test it, there's a chance it'll just stop working. So like 50-50, I swear to God. Okay. So, we're gonna go through all of the tickets, and then once all the tickets are done, we're gonna use all the SQ. I'm looking for just NP1. More than that, if I get it in a single roll, awesome. If I don't, whatever. So yeah, let's get cracking on this. One slow ticket at a time. The new Cs are going to be used for the event, so keep them. I've actually been like not destroying craft essences recently. There's just something about instant noodles. Are we done already? All right. This is literally why I never do a Fate Grand Order rolling stream ever. This right here is why I never do this, because the game goes out of its way to ruin my stream. What the hell am I supposed to do? I don't. Good lord. Hey, Knight. I know, right? Yeah, I'm gonna fully uncap her. I'm going to take a look at her kit. I'm just gonna talk about Tiamat. What else is there to do? Hey, look at this though. I got a bunch of stuff saved up now for the next like big roll. I got 26 tickets left. Okay. So let's start from the easy part, and that's leveling her up and getting her stuff all sorted out. So we'll do that. Actually, should probably. Oh wow, nice. It was actually one of the like success ones, so I didn't have to. You do your talk. I'm gonna eat. Actually, I don't mind that ascension. That actually doesn't look too bad. Red eyes. Okay. I don't know who Noah and Draco are. You gotta understand, right? Like, I don't pay a ton of attention to the Fate lore, and it's because there's just so much of it at this point. It's a lot like Gundam, where if you don't know all of it already, it's very daunting to look at. Alright. Crack some more of these. And I have a full crate. The 60 items that were in my crate are mostly just XP items and stuff, because yeah, I don't have the inventory space. They're all like stacks of 100. So, yeah, I think I also have some 20 of the base foes in there as well. So I'll probably grab those so I can cap out her attack and HP. Draco. Oh, you're talking effectively Mother Harlot. Okay. Alright, let's grab all these XP items in here. Let's see, those are 3 stacks, 1 stack. There's the 20 stack. Cool. 100 of those, 100 of those. That should be sufficient to finish this up. I say should be. Let's grab all these suckers. No, it looks like adult Nemo. Oh, that's the grand Nemo they showed off. Noah, right. Yeah, I remember that. People were really mad because we got Nemo and then they got Noah, and it looked like the same character. Alright. Leveling is slow. Yeah, that's like, it's very, very difficult to do content streams when the game actively decides that I'm not allowed to do content streams, you know? Oh, I like that final ascension. Okay. That was actually one of my biggest concerns, was that when we got, Tiamat in this, we'd only get like the small version, we never get the more adult version of the character. So this is okay. I really hope at some point they give us like a boss costume version, for obvious reasons. Roll for MP2. I may use the rest of my tickets just to see what happens, because I still do want to get some of the craft essence stuff, but we'll play that by ear. Come on, Fate, you can do it. Her MP turns her into the boss for the MP. Yeah, but, like, I want it to persist. I want that to be, like, the actual sprite, not just a quick one-off, like, haha, here's a teaser. I want it to be, like, the actual bit. And I don't mean, like, the full colossal boss form, kind of King Prokea style. I would be satisfied with, like, just the boss version of the sprite. Okay, final ascension art. I will check our sprite. That's what I'm gonna do when I go look at the kit. I'm just maxing out the level to 90. That's some pretty good art. Alright, 3 more Saint Quartz for the pile. Let's cap that level out. Nice. Did you know that King Hassan and Cast Da Vinci got a buff? No, that's cool though. I don't think they really needed a buff, however. Alright, alter ego, so down here in the depths. There you are. Alright, so we got, that's what, blue eyes? No, close enough. Eye of Blue Star, yep. Okay. Let's just level this. I'm gonna pump it up to probably 6, as long as I have the mats. And then I'll worry about the rest of it later. I find that 5/6 is kind of a good number. Gives it enough of a buff. No, I'm not going to go further than that. I really just need more gold cookies, honestly. Like, that's my biggest stopgap right now in leveling all of my character skills to max. It's just, I don't have the gold cookies to do it. And they're just such a pain in the ass to get. On to do that. There we go. Okay, all skills at 5, so that's going to be workable. Alright, let's go check out the sprite, actually read the data on the skills, and let's see what the KP brings. Where's my... there she is. Cool. So, sprite 1. Well, that's kind of what to be expected. I don't know, I just... after seeing Tiamat in FGO, seeing this version, I don't know. It's like a... I'm not going to say a mockery, but it's kind of like a cheap imitation. Form 2. So pretty much the same general proportions. They've just added a ridiculous amount of hair. And kind of like an overcoat thing going on. Okay. And then the third sprite. Ah, okay, that's a lot going on. I'm going to assume that the two big horns in the back are used during the attack animations. Honestly, a lot cooler than I expected. I was expecting the character without the giant things going on in the back there, so that's actually a really neat little surprise. Looking forward to trying her out, actually. And what was that about the buffs? King Hassan's buff to his S3 gives him a battery, 50% up, 3 turn, and IK. Okay, instant kill resistance. Okay. So it doubles his instant kill, gets a 2-turn extension to his Buster Up, big battery. That's actually a really good update for King Hassan. He's already like a really good assassin, so that just made him even better. He's still like top. I don't know if he's absolute top dog for assassin, but for Buster single target assassin, yeah. Da Vinci's buff turns her S1 to a targetable one user. Okay. I've noticed that the overcharge is starting to become a lot more common, which is kind of interesting. Yeah, I don't have Da Vinci or the Rider version, so the buffs don't directly affect me. King Hassan does, though, because I do have him. Neat. Alright, let's take a look at these skills here. Alright, launch done. So, we'll focus on this. Okay, so we have a NP battery. Is that... okay, increase your NP charge by 1. Okay. Recovery disabled. Interesting. Crit down, star drop down. Okay, so this is the first skill is kind of interesting. So it's like it's her battery, OC up, and then it just has a bunch of debuffs. So you got your crit rate down, star drop down, and recovery disable. Now, there's not a lot of enemies that I can think of off the top of my head where you have to worry about recovery. That's an interesting third thing to kind of add on to it. Like, It's not inherently bad. Like, the battery and the OC itself makes it really, really good. But the debuffs are interesting, but they're only one turn. The recovery disable is just really weird. Outside of that, the battery itself is good. So if you use it just for like the battery and stuff, yeah, that'll do. What's its charge anyways? It's at 50%. And thanks, man. I did see your DM. I already had the page open to read the data for it. 50% NP charge. All right, so 50% battery on demand, charge up. Okay. Oh wait, is that for the monster version? Oh, it is too. Okay. Oh no, can be applied to computer controlled. Okay. So, crit rate down, 100% crit rate down. The problem is with FGO, values go well over 100%. So, while yes, it'll stop things that have natural, like, high crit values from landing crits, for things that are designed around critting, I don't know if it'll really do that much, you know? But crit rate down 100%, that can save your lineup, depending on what you're fighting. Most servants, but we're talking enemies in general. It's really rare that you're fighting just servants, right? Like, we have the beast bosses and stuff, and I can't remember their exact values. Not unless they buff a ton or have 100% crit rate as a permanent effect. Well, that's what I mean, is the only time you ever see, like, over 100% crit rate is on, like, bosses and stuff, right? And that's kind of where I think this will be the most useful, not in general content. Like, the issue with 100%, like, worrying about being critted is you're probably either running a Berserker line that's going to take a lot of damage from a crit, or you're fighting something when you're not in the superior class archetype for it. And, like, yeah, it just feels like kind of a waste of a slot. If you're dying to crit, you're not running superior archetype, or you're not, or you're just running berserkers, in which case, like, honestly, you should probably think of other solutions than just saying, you know, get rid of crit rate. And the only time you'd really want to use it is on something that's buffing the hell out of its crit rate, which typically is only boss type enemies or very specific gimmick fights. So the NP charge and the charge up is really, really good on that skill, but the critical rate down and the star drop rate down just feels very The star drop rate down is kind of useless, obviously, because AIs don't get stars. That's more like if the enemy has this servant and they use it on your team, you're getting star drop rate down. But that can be offset with enough. But yeah, critical rate down, charge up, NP up. I think it makes your use as an alter ego against Cavaliers more viable. Again, if you're not running superior archetype, criticals are going to be really dangerous. 100% crit rate down for one turn is not that great. It's good. It'll save you for exactly one turn, but that's pretty much like the grand scheme of it. If this was like 2 turns or 3 turns, absolutely, I would love that. But 1 turn, it just feels very meh, considering, like, the last few times that I've died to crits, it was purely like a Berserker dying to a crit. But the thing is, that Berserker would have died if it wasn't a crit anyways, because, yeah, it's a Berserker. It's going to take a lot of damage. Yeah, so in the current state of the game, what we're fighting and stuff, like, it's there, but this is definitely more for the 50% battery, honestly, because that 50% battery is nice. Everything else is just kind of extra gravy on it, useful or not. And then the second skill, the red star, attack up. Okay, now that's card up for card buster. Is that just a higher chance to get buster? I'm so confused by the wording on that. Oh no, increased damage. Okay, cool. So you get a 30% attack up for 3 turns. You get a 30% buster up for 3 turns. You get a 60% chance to apply stun. And then apply curse, 2000 damage, tick, 3 turns. Okay. I've had runs to go south or dangerous so this boss can hit that crit. So again, we just loop back to the only time you're ever really going to be using her is on boss fights. But when it comes to a boss fight, I don't know if you would want to run an alter ego specifically for that. You'd probably want to run something more specialized in doing damage or more specialized in survivability, something like depending on the enemy class, maybe you'd want to run a ruler or something just to have that extra effective HP and typically, you know, defensive measures. Maybe you'd want to run one of the core supports for the defensive traits and stuff. Because like 100% crit down, awesome, but if the boss hits the same unit 3 times, typically crit resistance won't do anything because they'll just do enough damage to wipe you out anyway. Like, I get what you're saying, Mana. I just feel like you're really putting the cart before the horse here. Critical down, really good. Stops you from dying to crits. However, how often do you actually die to crits? What is able to actually consistently crit? And in the scenario, you're like, oh, well, bosses, sure. Why would you take her to a boss fight? It just, there's better characters. I had counter class as well. Well, alter egos aren't gonna be doing any better. Boss just crit for nearly half the HP, sure, and that's gonna be a gimmick. That's where the crits are designed to crit very hard and wipe you out. 100% critical down may make you survive a single hit, but you won't survive the subsequent hits. If it was also able to make the enemy only attack once per turn, it would be much, much more viable because you're effectively saying you get exactly 1 attack this turn, you cannot crit. Right? If that was the state of the Eye of Blue Star, that'd be really, really good because you're forceful. That's like a roundabout way of applying a weak shield or, you know, something like that because you've severely reduced the incoming damage and you force the boss to only be able to attack once. But if the boss can still attack 3 times, if it's critting or not, if the boss is designed around crit and around critical damage, it'll still hurt a lot, potentially still killing units. Her first skill is no guarantee of survival. It is just giving you a better chance. And based on that skill and Red Star so far, and her third skill looks to be a purely regenerative skill, based on skill 1 and skill 2, she appears to be more of a nuker than anything else. And that's really cool, but like, I don't feel like the critical down is really that useful. That's pretty much it. Again, I don't even understand why the healing denial is a big deal. Like, I don't know. I feel like you're overinflating the entire importance of this skill. It's like her charge on that skill, very, very good. The rest of it is really mediocre at best. 100% critical down. It sounds really good on paper, but the actual viable usefulness of it is like almost nil. And then the healing denial, again, what do we fight that actually heals? What do we fight where that would actually really shine and be very useful? Right? I can't think off the top of my head of any real use cases here where healing denial is actually going to be like, oh yeah, I really need this. Critical might be kind of useful, but I would rather run a character that has an actual like hostility up with damage nullification, or just straight a invulnerability phase or whatever. Because critical down does not guarantee you're not going to die. It's just you're not going to die to a crit. That's all it's guaranteeing. And that's not a really great guarantee. You are right, it's just a good bonus, but I would be very hesitant to say it's good. I'd say it is a bonus at most. It's not really, not that great. That's all it really stands down. If the critical down was longer duration, if the healing denial was something else, you know, lock down how many attacks they could do in a phase, block their NP charging for a turn, whatever, I think that would be better. It's okay, but the NP charge is really the big one for that. 50% is nothing to sneeze at. That is a big deal. Anyways, for Red Star, 30% attack up, 3 turns, and that's just on self, so it's a really crappy charisma buff effectively, because it's very selfish. Okay, but 30% is a good number. Buster up 30%, so we're getting our attack up, our buster up, so that feeds into each other well in the damage formula. Cool. That's also for 3 turns. The 60% chance to apply stun. 60%... like, it's there. Not terribly reliable. Yeah, 60% is kind of low. But I guess if you look at it at the Eye of Red Star as more of a offensive steroid and everything else is kind of just added on, okay. And then apply Curse, 2,000 damage. 2,000 damage to all enemies every turn for 3 turns is... it's there. I don't... 2,000 damage is just not that great. Most of the things we fight are gonna have a lot more HP than that. And as this is bound to a skill and not to like a noble phantasm, or like it doesn't add a state to the character where every attack applies the curse for more damage stacks. It's just one stack instance, 2,000 damage a turn. Yeah, the stun and the curse are just kind of there. Yeah, maybe if we had something that really fed into like curse stacks, cool, but yeah. The steroid's nice, 30% attack up, 30% buster up. Okay. If we remove them, we're not going to be sad that they're gone. Yeah, it just feels like, because when you look at other characters that have recently come out, typically when they have these kinds of steroids, they have other effects that are like pretty interesting too. Let's crack open, let's see here, Kukulkan, right? Fucking, she was really neat. She has a 20% attack up to the entire party, which, while weaker than Tiamat by 10%, it's to the entire party instead of just herself. And then she also gets a chance to receive critical attack down 30% to the entire party, which is kind of neat. Right, and that's like, again, kind of gravy. But then she has like this bonus effect. If you remove 10 crit stars, you get a 30% attack up steroid to the entire party instead of the 20%, right? Which is really nice, right? Very gimmicky, very interesting, right? And the same goes for kind of her entire kit, where if you do that, you play into the gimmick where it's, you know, like her skill 2, again, trade 10 stars, you get evade and sure hit on top of the base 50% battery. Right, if we open, I don't know, let's look at Nitocris Alter, I guess, right? Her main offensive steroid, her skill 1, you get Arts up, Buster up, and a heal in a single skill, 30%, 30%, 2,000 respectively, right? And then her NP charge, you get 100% NP charge, NP stayed up by, or I guess that's a monster thing, but NP up 100%. Your entire party gets alignment good, which, okay, but that's more for other gimmicks, right? You get all these other effects with it too. It's not that if you look at it just as a steroid skill, so like if you look at the first skill purely as an NP charge, cool. You look at her second skill as a purely offensive steroid, okay. The problem is when you trim out all of those extra effects, she feels very much like a character from 3-4 years ago where we just had very straightforward basic buffs being applied and we didn't have these extra effects. Most of the time, these extra effects are not really that amazing. We care more about what the core buffs do, but it just feels like a huge waste when we have other characters that have these really neat gimmicks or these really neat sub buffs to go with the character. And then we get this character, which is like a super high demand character, and they're just kind of like, yeah, we're gonna make the optional stuff just there, whatever, you know, throw a dart at the board, pick something off the list. Like, the core parts of skill 1 and skill 2 are amazing. 50% battery is great. That's nothing to sneeze at. That lets you use a ton of craft essence to immediately 100% and spam right off the gate. Yeah, we'll check her skill 3. But just looking at skill 1 and skill 2, just the base values are good. You know, 30% attack and buster up, that's good stuff. 50% MP charge, that's great stuff. But the extra effects just feel kind of meh. So it's kind of like, why would I use her over, you know, a character from a few years ago so far? And then lastly, the Sea of Blue Stars. At level 10, it has a 2-turn cooldown, 1500 party heal, 10% NP charge, and then NP damage up to the party of 20% for 1 turn. So it's a very spammable skill at max level, but the 1500 heal is very low. Like, most characters have over like 10,000 HP. So you're healing a little over 10% every 2 turns. On large waves of enemies, so when you're fighting, you know, like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 waves of enemies, that can be pretty useful. Typically, they're keyed to do a lot less damage, so this gives you a lot of sustain. But the Alter Ego class doesn't give her a lot of sustain out of the gate. It doesn't have really any defensive or life-saving measures built into her kit. And the 1500 heal is outclassed by a lot of stuff, because, you know, for like Merlin, right, 3000 heal, right, on his Noble Phantasm per turn. Granted, you have the Noble Phantasm, but if you play your cards right, you can Noble Phantasm like every other turn anyways, and you can stack all the other buffs that come with the Noble Phantasm. The 20% NP damage up, interesting, but it only lasts for 1 turn. So if you're trying to juggle your heals and the NP damage up, you may have to wait a turn, which could, you know, kind of cripple you depending on how the fight goes. I think so because it's spammable. 4.5k heal, 30% MP charge, party 60% on the same turn. Sure, but the way that it, like, if you look at just the pure air quotes meta right now, you can run BG with your max or pen 2. Yeah, like, it's not double S3 on turn 3. Again, though, it's like, it's, you have to do a bunch of setup and have very specific things to make her kit, like, good. Her S1 and S2 are very straightforward. It lets her do kind of a 1-turn nuke kind of thing with her Noble Phantasm, which we haven't even looked at yet. But I feel like 1500 heal is just way too low, even on a 2-turn timer. And the 20% NP damage up isn't bad. 20%'s pretty good. But it only lasts for 1 turn, and since it's tied directly to the spammable heal, like I said, if you have to heal on a turn you're not using your Noble Phantasm, then next turn you were going to use it, right? You're obviously losing out on damage, but 20% is 20%, right? Mana, you seem to be misunderstanding the issue here. You seem to be looking at this purely in the vein of like, well, it's spammable and it's, you know, it's a good enough heal. If I'm fighting a boss that does 5,000 damage in a turn, and I heal for 1,500, and then next turn he does 3,000 damage in that turn, right? The heal's just not going to be able to keep up, even though it's very spammable. It is great for mooks. It's great for low damage fights, because that 1,500 is substantial when you're fighting, you know, like 6 enemy wave kind of things. Typically they're scaled to do less damage. But when you're fighting anything of actual consequential value, 1500 is nothing. 1500 is like less than half of a single attack from an enemy. And in the 2 turns it takes for the skill to come off cooldown, the enemy's attacked, you know, probably 4, 6 more times, right? So like, it has its uses, absolutely, but it doesn't feel like it does enough to really be like excellent. Your synergy with her passive. Well, yeah, like we're going over her skills, and we're gonna look at the Noble Phantasm and the kit. Like, you want an impression, this is an impression, right? I go over the skills one by one and talk about them, then I look at everything else. If you want me to continue, you need to stop interrupting, because whenever you interrupt, we get into this long back and forth, and it extends everything by like 10-15 minutes. So if you want me to look at everything, Mana, just Alright, her Noble Phantasm. Alright, all the passives. Let's look at the Noble Phantasm here. Namu Duranki. Okay, interesting. So, Buster NP, EX rank, hits 6 times, cool. AoE Buster. Alright. So, remove effect with negative... Okay, so you do a purge. All negative buffs get removed. You get at NP1, a 30% Buster up. That's overcharge. It goes up to 60% at NP5, which is 60% is huge, but 30% is more than enough. And it's a 3-turn Buster buff too, so that'll stack with her skill 2 Buster up. That's cool. And then the 300% at level 1 damage, okay? And then skill seal for 1 turn on all enemies. Okay. So that's actually a really interesting Noble Phantasm. So you get more Buster up steroid, 30%, matching her skill 2 at max. A 1-turn skill seal on everybody, and then you purge all negative buffs. Okay. Okay. Now I wonder here. I want to actually see what it looks like, and I think I'll play that on the stream as well here, because I haven't seen it yet, obviously. Where's the Noble Phantasm video? There it is. I believe we've seen it already, because I think they showed it off during the stream that they did for this. Okay, YouTube, please. I want to have this over here. Let's see here. Window capture. Set it to not that. There we go. Phantasimo. Alright. Yeah, let me just shrink this down a little bit here. Yeehaw. Alright. I'll make that a little bigger for the stream. There we go. We'll just throw that in the corner. Alright, so this is the first viewing of it. Okay. Well, let's see what we got. Isn't that the exact Noble Phantasm that they have in arcade? Just obviously sprite work instead of 3D. Okay. Cool beans. Cool beans. It's kind of to be expected, honestly. The big beam, so to speak. Okay. Now, she has a healthy list of passives here, so let's take a look at all of those. The Noble Phantasm overall is kind of what I would expect from a Buster, but the Purge on self and the Buster up at 30% is really nice. I like how that's the first place you look, Mana. Big shame. Alright, so Authority of the Beast, critical up 10% on self, which is interesting because she has no critical like buffs of her own, so that feels almost like kind of a not a waste, because 10% crit up, you know, that's still kind of nice, but Yeah, the fact that she lacks any real crit buffs of her own makes it feel kind of like not as great as it could have been. Independent manifestation makes sense. Critical damage up 4%, death resist up 4%, received effect buff. Okay, so resistance against buffs 4%, cool, or debuffs. Self-modification EX, damage cut of 500 on self. Okay, so that's just like a flat cut. So every time damage comes in, just 500 gone. Okay. Core of the Goddess, that's damage plus 300. So again, every attack, it's 300 added on. I believe that gets added into the damage formula as well. So it actually ends up being slightly larger, but I can't remember. Okay, 30% chance to resist buffs, cool. Okay. And then we have the Infantile Regression, 5% NP per turn on self, so it's pretty much passive NP back. Cool. Anti-crit and healing makes more sense now for her. Not really, honestly. Like, even with a flat 500 damage cut, again, for any damage that actually matters, 500 is negligible. Again, for mook and wave clearing stuff, absolutely, her kit's really, really good for it. And she's really good for it with the survivability of that damage cut of 500 for general, you know, low damage enemy stuff. Mana, again, I understand, but for any hit that actually matters, 500 damage cut is really just negligible. If a boss is gonna hit you for, you know, 3,000 damage per hit, 500 down, sure, that saves you 1.5k HP, which is the same amount that your heal is gonna give you. But the problem is, you're still taking the rest of the damage, right? And her HP pool, 15k, that's really healthy, but the heal of 1,500 is still just not sufficient for anything beyond very low damage output enemies. There may be some very niche use cases down the line where she shines, like during her event. They may have a specific fight where the enemy regens itself, and that's where her skill for denial will be really handy. But for anything beyond like level 90 nodes, I just can't see her kit being very useful. Being able to survive one or two more hits can matter. I understand the sentiment, like the sentiment that you have on that, but if I'm fighting a boss and he slaps me for 10k damage, no crit, 500 damage cut means nothing. 1.5k heal means nothing. Because the next turn when he does another 10k damage, you have not healed anywhere near enough. You don't have invulnerability, you don't have survivability. The character's just gonna wipe. And in terms of her being a buster type character, because she's an AoE buster, she's not going to be terribly helpful against single target bosses. She's definitely more going to shine against multiple enemies, obviously AoE buster, Noble Phantasm. But yeah, like her kit is nice. The 50% NP charge, really good. The attack and buster up steroids, really good, right? The problem is the rest of the kit and all the additions to her S1 and S2 are okay. They're not great. They're not, you know, jaw-dropping. They're there. They exist. They're not inherently terrible by any means, because they have their use cases. But I don't feel that this character is really anything amazing. She's good, but I don't know if I would field her over, let's see, let me crack open my alter egos really quick here. Let's take a look. I think I have one up here as well, do I not? Yeah, I have, yeah, so I'd probably field her over Majin for sure. Because Majin, I don't know, she just feels kind of weak. But let's see. I think out of all the alter egos that I actually have available here, I don't think I would field her over any of the other four that I have sitting there. Maybe over Kiara. Maybe. Probably. Yeah, the 50% battery on self is really good. So I think I would field her over Kiara. but I think that's really it. I'd still prefer fielding Melt if I was fighting against a boss. I would prefer fielding King Protea in general, just because she has that ramping up ability for her HP, which makes her very, very good against people that hit hard. Yeah, no, I don't like... The 50% charge, I think, is really the big draw. The rest of her kit just doesn't feel like anything terribly amazing. The low cooldown on the heal is neat, absolutely. But, yeah. Interesting. I want to see her animations, though, because that is something I do want to see. I want to field her. Still 2 more passes, are you sure? Because, pretty sure that was it. Card, King Protea. I'm pretty sure I looked over the 5 passives that she had. Yeah, and then she just has the extended passives, which I don't, pens I don't care about. Yeah, I looked over the 5 passives. Yeah, I don't, she's not bad. I don't know if she's really anything. She's definitely not meta changing. She doesn't really do anything meta defining. She's kind of there. Well, let's see here. Let's go to Fuyuki. Yeah, sure, we'll run XA, whatever, that works. Perfect, Estella. And we'll just wipe this party out real fast. Tiamat. And yeah, we'll just go craft essenceless. Yeah, that works. Need to have 3 characters. Alright, I'll use... Well, Crane doesn't kill herself. Oh yeah, right, I do have that guy. Where is he? There we go. That'll do. Her pen 3. Yeah, so she'll get a 30% boost against anti-beast. I don't, like, it's not bad. But again, the rest of her kit just doesn't really work. Like, the issue with using her in any beast, which is high difficulty content, she has no self-survivability. Right, her biggest survival thing is her pass. Oh, right, kills the front. I need to put a rash in the front slot. And I need to slap something else. That's what happens when I'm too busy discussing. Yeah. Good thing it's only a 3 AP map, Lamau. Yeah. So anyways, the anti-beast up, 30%. I would never bring her into an actual beast fight. Like, that's asking for trouble, honestly. So I'll put you down, swap your positions around, cool. Yeah, no, it's...
Oh yeah, just burn the turn. She has no survivability on her own. She relies on her 2 teammates. Her 500 damage cut will do nothing against like an actual a beast, frankly. And even demon pillars, like all the demon pillars that we've fought for the last few lost belts, they hit way too hard and way too many times at a high strength value. Like the ones that use the like a Tano Circus style attacks, where it's just like a whole bunch of lasers and stuff flying everywhere, like curving and crap. those ones are like doing 17, 1800 damage a hit, and they're hitting, you know, 5, 6, 7 times, designed to, you know, clear your lineup. And while the damage cut will be nice to trim off a bunch of that damage, she'll still die within a couple of turns. She has no way to, you know, evade. She has no way to invul, and she relies on the rest of her team to keep her going. And at that point, if you're invulning or evading the damage, her damage cut's completely useless and taken off the table anyways. Not demon pillars, but the trees. Oh, so it only has 2 waves? I thought this had 3. There should be a quick way to get just like one servant. Because I really do just want to see her kit in action. Oh, perfect. That was okay. Oh, I like that. Okay, so I like the animation set that she has. I really don't know how to feel about that arts, because that was literally just like a black wave, but then her sprite was just kind of picked up and just kind of marqueed along with it. That just looked really lame. Like that was really lame. I want to see what her quick card looks like. I can't remember how to clean up the front line as a single unit anymore. I know that other people use like very specific versions of the client to do stuff. I'm not going to say anything specific, but yeah. Alright, let's try this one here. Yeah, I don't... At one point there was a way to go without picking a servant, and now my brain is just having a fart. I can't remember how to go into a map and not pick an ally servant. Because I remember that there was a way to do it. Anyway, oh, you know what? If I can't remember, he has... Yeah, this is really the only way to do it easily. It doesn't matter who I slap into the first slot, because they're just going to be sacrificed anyways. Oops, forgot to change the speed of the animations up. Oh well. You feel so slow running on not-fast settings. I can't remember. Oh yeah, his hostility is just the 1 turn. Alright. So I probably actually want to run... yeah, because I forgot that his Noble Phantasm like actually does something. The times I have run that character outside of doing testing stuff is like minimal. So if I... Do we have a Lancer node around here I can run on? Because that would be ideal. Oh, there we go. And that's... want an actual, like, Lancer node. Do we we not have a nice, comfy Lancer node around here somewhere? I guess not. Okay. We'll just do this one then. We'll just pop a bronze. That works. A level 40 node? Oh, that's fantastic. Okay. Do we have anyone with a max K-scope here so I can just burn an extra card? Nobody can be... Yeah, there we go. Nobu. Perfect. And we'll just give you some crit stars for the sake of it. Okay, cool. Oh, man. But yeah, her extra attack animation I think was really dope. I've always been a big fan of like when a laser hits the ground and like charges the ground followed by like a big explosion. I've always found those kinds of things just look really cool. That burns all those cards. Yeah, so I really want to just look at all the animations, honestly. So, alright, so Nobu dead. Oh, he's a caster. I don't know why I thought he was an archer. Why would I think someone using a bow and arrow is an archer? Clearly I'm brain dead here. Alright. I don't care about man. Was that just a casual chain? Was that what that was? Because that was pretty interesting. Alright, good, he's dead. And now we can just focus on you for the next two things. Let's take a look at that. Ugh. Alright, I like that. Yeah, that animation is compared to everything else. I really like that. Spicy. Let's do that. They're thrusters, because of course they are. Flame breath. So that seems to be just her quick in general. She only has the one quick. So it appears to be a laser show. I really like the second buster, like the dragon breath. I think that's really good. And did we see two? I think we've seen two arts before. I'm gonna do it again. Actually, I should probably do her noble phantasm. So we'll do that. So we got the mud wave. Oh, okay, no. Cool. Kinda okay. And then close range arts is that. Okay. And then the big bad noble phantasm, which we've already seen. I wonder if the animation looks different on the big form. Probably not. Yeah, no, same general appearance. Okay. Oh, I can't even hear the game audio, so for that I'll probably just refer to her asset page on the wiki.
Okay. One, three. Yeah, like, whenever I see one of, like, this, for example, right? An absolute slurry of beams, right? And his buddy's just behind there, not taking a single hit. Or like this, right? Riding, I would expect that to hit everybody the way that it is. It's interesting. All right. So overall with the animations, there's only a couple of them I'm not a big fan of. First one being the mud wave. I'm not, compared to the rest of the animations, it feels super low quality. It may be a joke thing, but like honestly, compared to the rest of it, kind of and I'm not a big fan. I can only get it to happen once, but the one where she like floats above them and like drops the fireballs down, I also find that to be very kind of mediocre compared to the rest of the kit. Not bad, just kind of like compared to everything else, it feels very low quality in comparison. Yeah. Okay. Very interesting. So overall with Tiamat, like, I tried double arts a couple of times. It's weird. But yeah. So overall, if you're using her purely as a alter ego noble phantasm nuker, her 50% charge is nice. You do require a little bit of other things in order to get that to 100%. Her S2 giving steroids is really nice. It gives you attack up and buster up, which is really, really powerful. That works really well with the battle damage formula. Her S3 being a very, very low cooldown pocket heal can be useful, but it's a small heal, 1500. So you'll have to find use cases where that's actually going to come into play. Primarily, I would see that being useful on like Mook battles, 6 enemy wave things. Outside of that, though, she has a lot of passives, 5 of them. As a character, she's okay, absolutely. She's mediocre in terms of her compatriot alter egos. In terms of AoE buster alter egos, I think in the short term she beats King Protea because of her very quick steroids. Like, she can turn 1, use all of her steroids and stuff and go ham. King Protea needs at least 1 turn of ramp up to get her HP stacks so that her noble phantasm gives her the attack steroid when you use it. Overall, she's good. She's not great. She's not bad. She sits in a very, very comfortable kind of average area with a lot of other servants. I just feel like at the end of the day, when it comes to her kit, it feels dated only because the extra effects on her skill 1 and skill 2 are extremely situational. And I feel like the 5-star servants that we've been getting on average for the last couple of years now, the extra effects on their abilities are more or less useful in some fashion for general content, whether that's farming, whatever. I just feel like her S1 and S2, although they are very
powerful, the rest of her kit doesn't really have the ability to flex that anywhere where she can really shine. So, I think it's an interesting kit. I think that there are some very interesting tidbits, and the 100% critical down is interesting, but it's only one turn, and she's alter ego, and she doesn't really have any survival traits of her own, or a survival in her kit. So it just feels kind of weird, you know? The Noble Phantasm, its AoE Buster gives you another 30% Buster up steroid when you use it, which stacks with her S1 or S2 steroids, which is really nice. And the way I look at it, she's a looper. Yeah. Like, her animations are, for the most part, really, really nice. The 50% self-battery on demand is really, really good. Yeah, it literally just boils down to, I feel like she just feels dated. That's what it feels like to me. She feels like her kit was made when she was added into FGO Arcade, and they just now decided to finally put her into FGO, right? Because that would, if you think about the timeline, that makes a lot of sense. If you look at kind of what we were getting around the period of time that Tiamat was added to FGO Arcade, her kit fits in kind of pretty well into that era of FGO. So, yeah. She's okay. You know, nothing to worry over if you don't get, but if you get her, pretty cool. Short stance cast and Zerker, she can clear 4/7 common classes, super farming. Yeah, but that stands true for a lot, right? Like, again, I compare her directly against King Protea because they fit the exact same archetype in terms of Buster AoE, Alter Ego. And KP, I think, just does more because her rolling gimmick of stacking HP and NP resist, and then the ability to trim her HP down and it acts as like a pseudo heal, I think is very, very powerful, especially against boss type enemies. But mileage may vary, right? Anyways, I've been doing this stream now for about an hour and 20 minutes. I gotta go. I need to get the other video going for the boxing stuff. I don't think you can run BG with KP. It's true. But, yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna wrap up. I'm gonna head out. Thanks for anyone that tuned in, stopped by. Yeah. I wish the rolls had gone on longer, but the game decided to just kind of kneecap those. Hopefully, when the next banner drops, it's a character I actually feel like rolling for, and this is going to sound weird, but I really hope the game doesn't give me that character immediately. Anyways, peace out, guys, and I will see you in the next one.